In this village, survival depends on which side of the wealth gap you occupy. While a small handful of residents have access to every comfort, the vast majority struggle to secure even their next meal. Jagan's dhaba sits at the center of this divide. While a dhaba is typically a modest roadside restaurant, Jagan has turned his into a local monopoly. He caters to visiting elites and politicians, setting prices that intentionally keep the local laborers out. This flowchart shows how the village's microeconomy is structured to fail the working class. The meager wages earned by laborers funnel directly upward, becoming trapped in Jagan's business. Ratan is the face of this struggle. He spends his days in the fields performing backbreaking labor, yet he can't afford the very food he helps produce. For people like Ratan, this dynamic means the home stove only stays lit for about 15 days a month. No matter how hard he works, the local cost of living stays just out of reach, turning his labor into a cycle of permanent debt and hunger. Eventually, Ratan's hunger outweighs his caution. He enters Jagan's dhaba and eats a simple meal of dal and roti, only to be presented with a bill for 1,000 rupees, a price equivalent to weeks of labor for a single plate of lentils. When Ratan cannot pay, Jagan uses violence to enforce his monopoly. By publicly beating Ratan and throwing him into the street, Jagan sends a clear message to the village. His prices are absolute, and the cost of non-payment is your safety. Ratan attempts to find justice through the mukhya, the village headman. However, the headman protects Jagan, prioritizing the restaurant's reputation and his own wealthy connections over the rights of a laborer. With the mukhya refusing to act, the power dynamic remains untouched. Ratan is left with no legal or economic path forward within the village, forcing him to look beyond its borders for a way to survive. Ratan wanders into a dense forest that the villagers avoid out of fear. There, he encounters the son of a mystic sage who has lived apart from the village's corrupt system for years. The mystic recognizes that Ratan is driven by genuine need rather than a desire for profit. Seeing the imbalance in the village, he decides to provide Ratan with a tool to disrupt the status quo. This is the Jadui Thali, a magic plate that provides an infinite supply of food. But the gift comes with a strict price ceiling. Ratan can never charge a customer more than 10 rupees for a meal. This artifact functions as a perfectly designed supernatural subsidy. By locking the price at 10 rupees, the magic forces the local market to shift, making high-quality nutrition accessible to everyone and directly countering Jagan's price gouging. Ratan opens his own dhaba immediately. Using the plate, he begins serving premium meals to the poorest villagers for a price they can actually afford. The market response is instantaneous. As this graph shows, Jagan's revenue collapses as the entire village shifts its demand to Ratan. Within weeks, the monopoly that once starved the village has lost its entire customer base. Desperate to reclaim his power, Jagan and his enforcer corner Ratan and seize the plate. They attempt to use it to demand gold and luxury items, hoping to pivot their business from food to pure wealth extraction. But the plate yields nothing. It effectively rejects their attempt to hoard wealth, remaining empty as Jagan shouts his demands. The magic is tied to the user's intent. Because Jagan seeks to exploit the resource for his own gain, the artifact becomes useless, rendering his aggressive tactics powerless. Jagan's greed eventually turns into destructive jealousy. Realizing he cannot control the magic, he decides that if he cannot profit from the village's hunger, no one else will either. Jagan and Bilwa sneak into Ratan's kitchen at night. Their plan is simple: poison the meals and blame the magic plate for the deaths. The plot fails when the mukhya, who had overheard their plan, arrives with the police. Faced with an act of mass violence, the headman is finally forced to abandon his alliance with Jagan to maintain order. Jagan's attempt to preserve his monopoly through sabotage backfires completely. By turning to domestic terrorism, he forces the village's leadership to finally remove him from the community he once controlled. With Jagan in prison, the village hierarchy changes. Ratan's dhaba thrives as a central hub for the community, where the focus is on nourishment rather than extraction. Even when the mukhya visits for a meal, Ratan maintains the 10 rupee price. The system now treats the headman and the laborer exactly the same. The magic plate acted as a societal equalizer, using a fixed price to enforce a level of altruism that the village's own laws failed to provide. placing power in the hands of the generous, created a level of community stability that predatory extraction failed to deliver. In this new economy, wealth is no longer measured by Joggin's profits, but by the fact that no one in the village goes to bed hungry.